Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Autotopia LA. Today we're back here at my friend Yoel's facility, Fusion Motorsports, where they do the Eleanor cars, they do the Land Rover Defenders, not to mention a ton of custom stuff. Plus they have their dealership where they sell amazing cars like this. Now we're gonna dig into this in a second. It's an interesting one. For me, there's a lot of great history in this car, I would say, in that it was built by Dave Kindig and his crew, Kindig It Design. It was built for somebody that some of you guys might not be familiar with, but you should go familiarize yourself with him because he's the winningest Winter Olympic athlete ever. Apolo Ohno had this car built, by the way, 8 Olympic medals in case you're wondering. He had this car built by Kindig. It's actually just been sold. So before it heads off to another part of the country, we get to shoot the car today. So I'm gonna ask Nate to step in here, who works with Fusion, and he's gonna walk us through this car. I'm gonna peg you with questions. Okay. Some of these he might know, some of them he might not know.
Yeah, I'll do my best. We didn't build it, so
right.
Kindig did an awesome job on it.
Yeah.
Older build, this was done in around 2011.
Yeah.
They unveiled it at SEMA, so.
I love all the Olympic touches on this car.
Yeah, Dave did an incredible job with the details, even the gauges with the Olympic rings. A car like a classic Cadillac and you start messing with emblems and stuff, you know, you can easily be like...
That could be really cheesy.
Yeah.
I mean, it really, really could. The other one that I thought was neat that Yoel was pointing out was, you know, on the seats, how it's got these pieces that hang down with the Cadillac emblem.
Yeah.
Look at like an Olympic medal.
Yeah. And the seats are amazing. I mean, you sit back and right away you're in position to cruise. So
yeah.
You get in a car like this and everyone's a thumbs up, everyone's, you know.
What's it running engine-wise? What did they do here?
This is a 502 Ramjet. Has a bunch of custom touches as far as looks go. You know, pre-2011, I'm trying to think, like, the LS stuff probably wasn't really hot at that point.
Yeah.
You know, you go at the 502 big block, that was like the build, that was the thing to do.
Yeah.
4L80 trans, same thing. You know, now we're all doing 10 speeds and everything's nuts now, you know, compared to what it was. Is this stuff still fit easily? You know, you got a 4-speed transmission.
Yeah.
You know, now we'd be chopping up tunnels and, like, you know, it's a little different with the route that most people go, but it's
and that transmission's fine. I mean, you got plenty of cruisability. I'm sure on the freeway you're 80 miles an hour and just cruising in this thing.
Of course, a 4-speed overdrive, you're good.
So what are some of the other build elements? Like, I always wonder with cars like this, framework, is it still all stock framework, or?
It's factory as far as the Cadillac frame goes, but everything's been smoothed and painted, everything's body color. Suspension wise, it's all Ride Tech. Ride Tech's been really great. Some of the stuff was like outdated on this. Yeah. So when we got it in, we went through and some stuff was leaking and they were like, we don't even make this anymore, but we'll make you whatever you need. Gave it to us at cost. Yeah. So it was one of those, like, we'll take care of you, you know, and so that was cool. They've been great with this car. They might have even developed some of the parts for a Cadillac on this car.
High profile.
Yeah, high profile build. It's funny how those Olympians, they become like heroes immediately. You know, you start winning gold medals, and next thing you know, you're an athlete to a household name, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
You know, I'm old enough to have been watching those Olympics. I totally remember him just cleaning house. I mean, the guy kind of couldn't be beat. I like what Yoel was while we're talking about him, how the name of the car, what's the name again?
Zero Regrets. And that was the name of a book of his that he came out with. Yeah, and they did it on the wheels, they did it on the engine covers.
Wow. Dude,
it's full show car treatment. You know, it has the full closeout panel. It's not something you would do to a race car. I mean, but super cool look, and it's crazy when you start peeling the layers to service something, you go, that's a lot of work, you know, just in what they built.
The amount of metal work covering anything I mean, it's staggering what they've done here. So they cut out the hood as well to be able to fit the intake.
Yeah, there's all these little things. We have a factory hood, but you can see they smoothed everything, even the underside's fully painted gloss, you know, which is like full show car treatment. Has 2 alternators, which is probably things have progressed.
That's not something you would necessarily do.
Yeah, now you can get a 200 amp alternator and you can run 1 alternator, but this has a huge kicker sound system and trunks all closed out, same thing, full show car treatment. So they probably figured, hey, we're running a big sound system, let's run 2 alternators. So, you know, it's like...
It is funny how much it continues to progress. Like even Ride Tech, what they were doing in 2011 versus what they're doing today, I got to imagine there's got to be some massive development in the technology.
Absolutely. The new shocks that they sent us for the front, it was like, wow, this has come a long way. You know, the other ones, it was more pieced together, and you know, it's not, now it's all one unit. It's beautiful, you know, and you're like, that's, you know, nice stuff. Even electronics wise, you know, it still has the older style controls. Now everything's...
I saw that, the control pad, which is radically different than what we see today with it.
Yeah, now everything's touchscreen, I mean, but it's a different world for car building.
The thing that really stood out to me, it's a long car. There's a lot of room for lots of error in the bodywork, and the bodywork on this, I mean, this, dude,
incredible.
Be straighter.
And it held up great. You're talking about 12 years on a car that large, and an older car, and it looks amazing. So I don't think we talked about the wheels earlier when we talked about the zero regrets on the wheel. This is a billet 22-inch wheel that looks like a white wall. So this thing pulled up on the trailer when it came in, and I went up and I was like, look at those white walls. Like literally, it faked me out, you know. I went, and I was saying it because they were so clean, like, and I'm like,
it's impossible to keep a white wall that clean.
What? And I got closer and closer, and then went ding, 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 and I was like, okay, that doesn't even make sense to me. I thought it was a cover, but it's a billet wheel.
I did the same thing when Yoel started to tell me about it. I felt here and went, oh my God, now I feel the lip.
I would hate to try and mount a tire on there. I'm assuming you reverse mount it. You probably flip that beautiful wheel upside down and put it on the other way where normally you'd have it face up.
Right. I don't know this style of car that well, you know, like I do the pro touring cars and stuff. But recently I've seen this a couple of times where I thought it was a white wall, and I went up and did that, and it was metal. So it's something that's being done more now, I think, like dry fives. But I don't know how much that was being done back then. And Yoel, before he left, said, I don't know the cost of those wheels, but I can tell you this much, that was a very expensive one-off wheel to produce.
I can't imagine. Yeah. And the design too is so cool. Like, I mean, classic Kindig, you know, he keeps correct for what the car is.
Doesn't try to make it what it's not.
Yeah, so this is like a Cadillac looking design, and
most people gotta just think it's a white wall. Especially you see it roll by. It's like, you're not gonna think that that's a 22-inch wheel. You're gonna think it's a 17 with
and that guy keeps his wheels clean.
Right? Scrubs them every day, doesn't he? I gotta guess this is a Kindig one-off, probably.
I'm not sure on the mirrors. I know the door handles, those are super cool.
Definitely.
That's like, I mean, Tesla probably pulled that from him. I mean, they're running that on the Model 3s, you know?
I didn't like his handles on, sorry, Dave. But I mentioned it, there's a car I have stored in my shop that was built in Australia called Havoc. Crazy, crazy Challenger, but it has the handle where it doesn't have the piece here, it's just the straight piece. And I didn't like it only on that car because that car is such a beefy, mad muscle car.
Didn't look like it.
And the handle felt too twinky for me. On this, I love how elegant it is, and the fitment's just perfect.
Yeah.
While we're going around the outside, can we pop the trunk to see?
Let me.
I am curious to see how finished out this is. Oh, that's so cool how he painted the amps like that.
Yeah, so the Apolo Ohno paintings, which is like, it's pretty wild. And the old school, you know, kicker, which is like another one of those things, like the square subs. I mean, those were such a thing before. Like everyone used to run like the kicker square subs. They're cool.
Yeah. Kindig, it's personally, I like his cars better than
he has great style. He finishes them out. You know, he's a real builder
and a real designer. That's the key, in my opinion. Is you can. I think to build a car without designing it first is usually a bit tragic. You know,
you can spend less money too. You spend the money up front, but you start doing a full build and you don't know which direction you're going. It gets expensive quick.
My buddy Sean, who's a designer, he says you know spend 10 grand in designs. Or spend God knows how much and let your builder sketch in metal.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? It makes so much sense to design first, then once the design's approved, cool, now let's build that car, you know?
I'm with you. I'm more of the pro touring, you know, we build hot rods, we build, you know, muscle cars, you know, and you do stuff like that. But the Cruiser, somehow, it's a different style of car. But this, you don't have to do crazy stuff on. I mean, the styling already, it's a spaceship, you know? It's 1960s, like, it's wild.
Totally. Now, the body styling already, I mean,
it's got
wings.
It has wings on it.
Dude.
Like, how custom do you need to get? You just need to do a little refinement.
Totally agree. All right, let's check out the interior. I mean, not that you can't see it all from outside, but I've seen Kindig cars like at shows and stuff, but this is the closest being around sitting in of any Kindig cars.
Yeah.
I mean, all the finish work is really exceptional, isn't it?
Yeah, this thing's comfy. You get in and you're like, it's instant cool.
So one of the things that was pointed out to me quite a while back is when people paint dashes and they do it in a gloss, then you get all the sun reflecting off and blinding yourself. I love that they did a matte finish.
Yeah, and that's a really nice matte finish. And then they still went gloss on the bottom where you're not going to be getting that reflection back up into your face.
And I mean, the switches here, this whole...
I can't imagine having to get all that stuff re-chromed, and you know, chroming now is like so hard to come by. Getting someone to re-chrome all this trim, because all of it is refinished. This isn't like... Or someone had a perfect 64, which is probably not like.
Yeah. I mean, even the steering wheel. So I got to imagine, even though it's still a pretty big wheel, it looks like it's slightly smaller than what would have come stock on here.
I don't know that, but it does feel like that. Like sometimes when you get in these kind of cars, like your legs almost don't like to get underneath them. You have to like do a weird little scoot. This seems right when you sit in there. That could be something custom that I don't know about.
Yeah.
There's always things you learn about a car. You know, you can see a car for years and then you're like, oh, look at that. That's
sure. And some like this that's full custom, you know, this is one where you have to, if you want to know every single little detail, you got to talk to the guy that built it.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the truth.
Exactly.
You know?
Everything's pretty hidden. It's aftermarket. I mean, besides the gauges, even the stereo flips up. I don't even remember how to do that, but I think it might be motorized.
But there's some switch somewhere that makes this disappear, and now
so
it just turns.
Just looks pretty original minus the gauges.
Yeah.
I think these are like old school Dakota Digitals that they did like custom, you know, one-off for, which is pretty neat.
And again, though, the Olympic rings, I mean, you could get cheesy quickly with it, and they were pretty damn subtle about this, you know?
Yeah.
This is just such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful car.
The custom speakers and stuff, that material that they used is super cool down there for the grills. Instead of just running like a typical like metal mesh, it's a nice like fabric material, which is very 60s.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell everything's one-off. I mean, even the carpet that's in here.
Yeah, it's more like a Mercedes style carpet, not a...
Or like rolls or something. I mean, it's such a plush carpet, man. This whole car is just really, truly, I mean, it's just stunning, man. And the fitment, like, that's so satisfying to me to just lightly
door gaps are nice.
Yeah.
Everything closes.
Well, I'm sure there's more to talk about on it, but I really want to take the car outside and go roll around the neighborhood in it. And by the way, you guys, Nate's got to go take care of family stuff, right?
Exactly, my little 1.5-year-old,
Because of that, he's going to bow out. I'm going to go cruise the car around by myself because Yoel and the guys here trust me enough to not do stupid
for sure. You've driven enough cars, you know what you're doing.
So we're going to camera up and go for a cruise, you guys. So you guys can probably tell it's a different day. So we were over here yesterday at Fusion. We pulled the car out to do what we're doing now, which is go for a little cruise. Got some drops on the car, felt some drops on my head, which doesn't take long to figure out that it's raining with my bald head. Now we're back at Fusion today to do the drive part, which I was looking forward to. I know Yoel and the guys at Fusion, they before they sell anything, they go through mechanically, make sure everything's sound, solid, working properly. But this is definitely one of those cars built more for show. I could tell right away. The older Ride Tech air suspension, you know, it's a little bouncy on the road. You know, we left out what brakes are in the car. I noticed that it's got Willwoods on it. Couldn't really tell if it's a boosted brake, but I can tell you this much from driving in the car, these are definitely manuals. You know, I'm giving a lot of room between me and any other cars because it's taken a lot of pressure to get us slowing up here. That said, how friggin' stunning is this car? I mean, the paint and body alone on this vehicle is just beautiful. The interior, I mean, that engine bay is mind-boggling. And think about it, this car was done, you know, 10, 11, 12 years, somewhere in that neighborhood. This is the first time I've personally ever even sat in, let alone driven a Kindig car. And I can tell you this much, man, fit and finish, in my opinion, it doesn't get nicer than this for fit and finish. It's just truly beautiful. And then the little touches to tie in Apolo's career as a speed skater, Olympic athlete. You know, these gauges are just really beautiful in here. The little Olympic rings going down the back of the quarter panel there. Really just beautiful. And the car actually does drive nice. I mean, it drives like what it is. A big heavy car on air suspension with 22-inch wheels and very, very low profile tires. That's exactly what it drives like. So I'm sure you guys know what I mean. But I tell you what, cruising down the road like this, I'm okay. I don't know that I'd want to get this on the freeway and get up to any kind of speeds. I mean, the imperfections in the road here, the tires are grabbing everything and moving around a bit, but you know, it's got a 502 big block in it. Who cares? Like what, you're gonna try to rip in this car? Not me, man, not at all. Absolutely love the color on this car. Matte finishing the dash for me makes so much sense to get rid of any of the reflection that would be blasting you in the face with a gloss finish. And it, beyond the functional element of it, I think it looks extraordinary. I mean, I'm sure some of you guys will understand, you know, you're driving a car that's got some pedigree to it, right? You got Kindig's name and company involved in this. You got Apolo Ohno. Now the car is bought by one of Yoel's close friends and biggest clients. You know, so there's a lot involved, right? Plus, it's the first few minutes of driving the car. So there's this natural, holy shit, please don't let anything happen, because this car is just stunning how beautiful it is. And like I said, man, I don't want to go fast in this thing. I wouldn't anyways, it's a cruiser, but I tell you, man, those low profile, big tires like that, every little thing in the road, there's movement to it. But I'm just enjoying sitting in this car and getting to just drive it down the road a little bit, man. And we scored. The drizzle is gone and we're kind of sort of back to what we're used to pretty much 330 days out of the year. Sunshine and beautiful. You know, I wish we would have talked about what the exhaust is. I'm sure there's certain elements of this car that they might not even know. The tone of this car is really nice, man. It's definitely not loud, but you hear a nice low down tone that reminds you that it is a big block car. I would be really curious regarding this steering wheel, because at my shop, one of my clients has a white 1960 Cadillac, and that wheel is definitely bigger than this. This one seems like it's reduced slightly.
I love your show, man.
Oh, thank you.
You know, it's a trip to see you. I'm in the movie star thing.
And what are we doing? We're out here shooting a video right now. Thank you. See you, man. That's funny. One of the guys that likes to watch our channel, man. I love it. I mean, you guys think about it, the variety of cars that I get to drive that, let's be honest, I can't afford it. And even if I could afford only this car, it wouldn't be the car I would get because it'd be the only car I could get. But like, you know, a guy like Jason who bought this car that has somewhere in the neighborhood of like 2,000 cars, hell yeah, I'd like to own something like this, man. This is a bitchin' get in the car with your girlfriend on a sunny day and just go cruise, man. My only two gripes, be honest with you, driving this car, and this is me being nitpicky, is the amount of movement you get on the road. It'd be nice, that's probably as simple as doing something different with the wheel tire setup, possibly. And then just how much pressure it takes to get the brakes to really, really stop. Like I wouldn't want to have to make a really quick, aggressive stop, because I think there's a little adjustment probably just simply in the master cylinder on this. But god dang, I am driving a Dave Kindig built car right now. I swear. I do feel lucky, you guys. I see in the comments plenty of times, I got the greatest job in the world, and I tell you what, man, I do love doing this. I feel pretty damn lucky getting to do this and getting to drive around and stuff like this. By the way, you guys might have noticed at the beginning and end of our videos recently, and I'm wearing it today, it's really cool. We've created a new relationship with Liqui Moly, And if you're not familiar with Liqui Moly, and I'm not just saying this because they're supporting us, definitely look into Liqui Moly products as far as oils, additives, cleansers, yada, yada, yada. They're well known in the European market, very little here in America. But it's pretty hard to watch a Formula One race and not see Liqui Moly all over the place. And I'm just really excited with our partnering with them and them coming on to sponsor the channel. Great products, great people. I'm excited to be working with them and to have the support of them for our channel. I wish I could blast some music. This car begs for some cool cruising music, but you know what YouTube will do. They'll flag us and they'll do what they'll do. But I can tell from the audio, just the big amps in back, it's got to be a pretty damn good system. That was just great. I got to say, man, I'm always knocked out coming over here to Fusion. They have such an extraordinary inventory in their dealership, in the custom side, all the elements that they're involved in the automotive space. And to let me not only shoot this car with them, but then to just get in the car and go for a drive, and they trust that I'll do what I did, drive it mellow, take care of it. Really awesome. And gotta hand it to Kindig and his crew. Not that they need my input, but man, I tell you, for a car that was built that many years ago, the fit and finish work, the detail work, the choices made on this, the color, really gotta admit, I'm totally blown away by this thing. Just a beautiful, beautiful vehicle. So I hope you guys enjoyed hanging with me on this one. I'll see you in the next episode, and a big thanks for always being here with us. See you guys later.